Headphones are tangled up. Give me just a moment. Good morning, afternoon, good evening. Greetings. Here comes the link. Bring your headphones and yourself. And we'll have a little chat. Yeah, was fighting off man. I have this the shoulder thing going on, and it really disrupts my sleep sometimes. It is awful. Hi, good father.
Hey, how was Santa's husband?
Oh, I have not read it yet.
You haven't?
I'm going to save it. I read the first couple of pages. And
no, I meant the audiobook.
Oh, the audiobook. It's I only listened to a little bit. I'm trying to save it. I'm going to save it for I think we're going to do a Christmas reading of it.
Oh dear.
So,
great. Just the thing to ruin Christmas.
Oh, it's really
Gary,
short. Each page has a
certain that you were masochistic, but now we know for certain.
We know. No, I like punishment.
Hello
but
there.
Each page has a sentence on it. Hello, how are you?
Doing great. Pretty mixed.
Pretty mixed. So we have just another exit. We have Lori Roberts. What's up, Lori?
Hey, Gare. Hi, Bird.
Kapla, Lori.
Lori.
Yes.
Hello, Lori here.
Draco, Mr. Freeze, Birder Prekapla again. Baptist 702. And what's this? I can't see. Oh my God, my eyes are so bad. Thank God I have. CC Atina. Hello. And the good father, Christopher Miller. Hail, sir. Featured in my video.
Yeah, I saw that. Wasn't expecting that.
Hey, it was funny, dude.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Gary, I just got to give you a big thank you, Gary. I was not expecting that shout out on Friday. Blew me away.
Oh, dude, come on, man. The least I can do. Love you, man.
I appreciate it. Unfortunately, my mom ended up in the hospital this morning.
Oh, no.
And things are pretty nuts over
What was
here.
it from?
So she woke up. Well, last night she took a nap. She got up from a nap and started vomiting, and she couldn't walk. She said she was dizzy.
Whoa.
She ended up going to the ER last night. They kept her for a couple hours. They said it was a punctured eardrum. They gave her some meds and they sent her home.
Ooh.
Well, they sent her home, and she was good for a couple hours in the middle of the night last night. And then she woke up this morning worse than she was yesterday. She couldn't take her pills because she couldn't keep anything down. So she had to go back in. And then she'd been there for hours this morning. I couldn't get through to her cell phone. So I called the ER place, spoke to her nurse. Her nurse personally told me like 3 hours ago, like, oh, your mom's doing much better. She's keeping food down. She's keeping water down. We're going to keep watching her for a couple hours. Everything's looking good. I was like, great. And then about an hour ago, my mom calls. She's like, I don't know why she told you that. She's been miserable the whole time. She didn't get any better. Just a little bit to talk, but she's still vomiting. And they are admitting her. So my sister is here, and our good friend of the family, Camille's here. And we gotta get some health aides lined up to take care of me for the next few days at least.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Didn't expect it to happen so quickly, but it did.
Well, I'll be certain to keep you and your family in my prayers, if that's okay with you.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Definitely accept all prayers, all types, whatever. Good vibes. I appreciate
Some
Lori,
good advice
thank you
is
so much.
definitely at church as well if you want more prayers, because local communities always definitely help during these times. Like I remember when one of my family members died, I remember one day we went to the local church and they all honored her, and it was super nice.
Where do you live?
Unfortunately, I never really got involved with the church.
I live in the Northeast, so.
Okay. He lives in Queens. People aren't that friendly.
Oh.
I mean, there's a church nearby, but and I do have some great friends that have offered to drive from halfway across the country to do anything they could to help. But unfortunately, the only things I need really a health aid.
Yeah.
To do
you have that lined
medical
up?
and private stuff.
Or do you have that lined up?
We're working on it now.
You're working on it. Okay. I mean, like I'm across the country, but just I don't know if you can email me or have somebody email me if you need anything, dude. Let me know. Okay.
I appreciate it, Gary. I really wouldn't even know what, unless you know a home health aid in the New York area.
No,
there's probably nothing.
If it's a matter of coin, I like.
Oh, I appreciate it. We may do a GoFundMe or something, but we're not there yet.
Make sure you keep us updated.
Bird,
I've got it covered for now.
I really might know home health aides in that area. Close family friends are in that business from my hometown, so I am going to reach out to my mom and just see.
Oh, I mean, I'm in Bayside, Queens.
Yeah,
That's a pretty small area.
My cousin Pamela works at North Shore LIJ.
That's okay.
Wow, that's where his mom is.
Mom's at North Shore Manhasset.
Okay.
I've been to North Shore LIJ as well.
It's just a little farther.
Yeah.
But no, that's my hometown. That's my home area. So I'm just going to see what's what, and I'll reach out to you, on YouTube, because you're here.
Yeah.
And thank you for posting that video, because it was the first thing I watched this morning.
Oh, you're welcome. But with that, guys, because I'm helping my sister's helping me trying to find things. I just want to come. I want to give a big thank you guys to Gary, especially Lori. You've been asking on Twitter, and I appreciate it. Everything you've done for over the times, and everyone else here. You're all an amazing group of people, and I'm so happy to know you all.
It's a pleasure to help out.
Yeah, Bird. Yeah, and let me know.
I'll email you, Gary, if there's anything. Just an update.
We would be able to handle that quickly. So
thank you so much.
No problem, buddy.
Okay, I'll be listening.
Man. I'll send my love to Mama Pray. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes. Bye.
Bye, Bird.
Bye, Bird.
Bye now.
Bye.
Such a good guy.
Well, with that being
Gary,
said,
I wanted to tell you that I did my own little Snake Plissken routine. I have officially left New York.
Whoa.
Nice.
Escaped.
And you were, I did. That's what I actually felt like that. When I was going through the tunnel, I felt like I was escaping. And then when I got over the George Washington Bridge, I was like able to breathe better. But Gary, you were an inspiration because, I wanted to leave New York for a while. I saw what was coming. AOC is my congressional race. Once that happened, I was like, I don't even belong here anymore. But as grandchildren, you get locked into an area and you just kind of get the feeling of, I'm here. This is where I'm at. You can't just uproot your life and go. And I watched you do it every step of the way. And I said one day, first I thought I had to go to work, but then during the flu, I realized I had to update my software at home, and I was fine in my living room working. And then I realized my living room doesn't even have to be in New York. Like the chains that are tying me aren't really real. They were just, you just get locked into a lifestyle. And I watched your progress, and, we're out of here. We're doing it. And I know you have a child, and education is very important. It took a lot of balls for you to do that. And I just appreciate you. And I'm in Pennsylvania now. I'm only 8 miles away from where I was, but what a different world.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
I'm past the Poconos.
Yeah.
Actually, a little bit past Scranton. It's called Clark.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bought a farmhouse with a barn.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
It's nice. I'm meeting people, and they're like, "Where are you from?" And they'll say New York, and they go, "Oh." You can see like their crowns drop, and I go, "But I'm not going to vote that way. I never have." They're like, "Oh, okay." Okay.
Is that like the Wilkes-Barre area?
It's 81 kind of splits between Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. I go to Scranton way, and I go past Scranton.
Cool. Oh, that's a lovely area.
That's all. I got.
Mrs. Neurotic lived in the Poconos for a little while when she was a youngster. Yeah, it's. I'm feeling a lot better about it right now, to be honest with you. You know,
Yeah.
Did you ever live in the city?
What was that?
Did you ever live in the city?
Yeah, I lived in New York City.
Wow, you actually lived in the city.
Me too.
Impressive. Like I said, as someone
Cities are
who
overrated.
agree, I like to visit them, but when I was planning on going to NYU for university, I was dissuaded because I was told, again, it's not my family who lives close by in New Jersey. They're just like, no, don't bother.
And you would have come out a liberal whack job. I don't know what NYU does to kids, but
my state is a blue state, but luckily we're actually better at our jobs, so we're actually on phase 3 of reopening. So we've actually done a better job. Probably because Governor Tolles actually realized he has to do a better job if he wants the community to listen to him.
If he wants to stay in office. I think a lot of these governors
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, I think we're going to be shuffling governors.
I'm still stuck with mine for 4 more years.
Or did he just get elected or something?
In Illinois, I'm not sure if this is everywhere, but in Illinois, the governor was elected for 6 years, and he got elected 2 years ago. So
God,
we're stuck for a while.
I certainly hope we're going to be shuffling some governors.
Yeah, Cuomo's got to go.
Yeah, Cuomo, Newsom, that maniac in Michigan. I mean, she's
Whitmer.
2 more years left to her.
Well, they should.
God.
Why don't they try a recall vote or ballot? Isn't that what they do up there?
How hard is it to recall governors? I've seen that being a thing in a couple different states, but it must be incredibly difficult to do it.
You really, really got to piss off the population and hit them where it hurts, their wallet. And
Didn't they do that? Didn't they do that in California a number of years ago?
Yes, they did, and it was swift. It was so. I mean, I couldn't. When I first heard it, I'm like, they're never gonna fucking recall this guy. Excuse my language. And then, like about a month into it, I'm like, oh, this is real. Like everybody's mad. Everybody's mad. What they did was they deregulated the power industry.
I remember that.
Oh my God, our power bills went insane. So like I was a poor
Was it the Enron scandal?
I don't know if it might have been connected to it. It might have been.
Because that was a huge issue in California, because I remember the one time that one of the times that we called the governor and got him out of there was because of how Enron was basically they had that governor who I remember Enron was connected to the president, George W. Bush.
It was Gray Davis.
And then
Gray Davis was a Democrat. So Gray Davis was a Democrat. He was, and we were kind of going from Republican to Democrat. That's how California was for a little while. It would kind of switch back and forth. And it looked like it was going blue pretty much permanently from this point on. And but this Democrat followed the Clinton model to go forward because Clinton acted like a Republican. For those of you who
did. Aside from his personality,
no, he said he was a Republican. He within his office, he would look around the room and say, "Just so we're all clear, we are all Eisenhower Republicans." Clinton quotes. So
and he acted like it, and
it's called bipartisanship.
Yes,
Yeah,
and Gray Davis tried to be that. Gray Davis sucked. I can't believe he got elected in the first place. So our power bills, quick to make this short, my power bill as a poor person here in Escondido, about 2 blocks away from where I am right now, I was paying, my power bill was roughly $30 a month. 30. It went to 300.
Holy shit.
Wow.
90s? Was this in the 2000s? When was this?
This was in 97. Just to let you know that the fix was in, because we all knew that they'll dial it back, but it'll be a lot more. And believe me, I paid a lot more than that for my
Yeah,
power.
let's jack it up to 300. Then when we put it down to 200, they'll be happy.
Yep.
That's how New York works.
Whole fucking fix. But it cost him his governorship.
The other challenge in recalling a governor, the other challenge is getting the signatures certified to get the question on the ballot. And it's very easy.
So they verify those signatures, but they don't bother with other ones.
Well, they just
recall efforts against Governor Richard Whitmer have been launched in 2020. 9 have been approved for circulation, 10 have been rejected by the board, and 1 has been withdrawn. You need 1,662,647 signatures.
Hey Draco, you sound like you're coming from the bottom of the ocean.
So wait, they had the signatures and it didn't go through?
They had the signatures, but I believe the Secretary of State threw out about a third of them and said they're not valid. Go back and start over.
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
That's the best it's going to get from me.
It's okay. It's okay, but sometimes it kind of steps on people. So yeah, just I don't know if it's a delay or something. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but yeah, it kind of comes in early while people are talking, and then they feel like it's because it's louder. So what happens is you notice when people get stepped on in live streams, it's because their mics are too low. So higher mics will come in, and then people will take the louder sound as priority. So that's the tough thing about these. We want to try to be as nice as possible, but also got to keep the conversation flowing. Hope you understand.
Right.
Well, I saw the new guidelines that California issued for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they look like doozies. I just wonder if that's going to tick off enough of the population over the next few days.
What is it? Is it more than just not singing at Thanksgiving?
It's basically families that get together have to wear masks, 2-hour limit. I can't remember what else.
2-hour
No
limit?
singing, no loud talking, just some ridiculous rules. I don't know who gets together and sings at Thanksgiving, but some people might.
I never did.
I never did, but
my cousin.
Maybe I'll start this year.
yeah. I think I'm going to sing just because.
All right, I got a headline here from 2 days ago. California coronavirus updates. Governor Gavin Newsom denies controversial Thanksgiving guidelines were meant as such, but says holiday guidelines are coming soon.
Wait, what? So those guidelines we issued actually weren't guidelines, but they're totally guidelines?
Yeah. I don't even know what that means.
Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom. I'm retarded.
It means I threw it out there and nobody liked it, so now I'm going to rewrite it.
Yeah.
Any chance of California going red?
Welcome to the world of the blue state.
Yeah, guidelines are coming out, apparently.
But anyway,
Well,
actually, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on. Go on.
No, I don't plan on being on the live stream for too long because there is something I wanted to take care of. But I wanted to get your opinion, well, everyone's opinion really, but primarily, admittedly, Uncle Gary. And disclaimer: Gary's not my real uncle. It's just a title that I give him because because he's one of I consider him a leader in a very important movement like the Phantom Menace on some level, comics game, what have you. But anyway, I did want to get your opinion, Uncle Gary, on the issue about Keanu Reeves wanting to be on Boom's cover or be a part of Boom's, what's it called, their crowdfunding for Berserker, and how the comics pros have taken a lot of issue with that. I wanted to at least get your position on that.
They won't let him on? What's the issue?
Well, it's just that the comics pros are complaining, they're trying to...
Oh, about his... about his crowdfunding?
Yeah, first of all, they hate that he's not going through what they call the proper channels and so on and so forth. I think you already did a video on it, but at least wanted to hear your opinion on the live stream.
I think it's great that they used him. I think it's smart. I think it's the big publishers are copying the Comicsgate model. I think they see there's a lot of money being made, and pretty soon there won't be any money being made in the stores because the stores have become what the boy Zach calls geek bodegas, so they don't sell comic books anymore. They sell everything else, geek stuff like that. But no, they can't stand success. They really can't when it's not them.
You have to remember the head of Boom Studios shot himself in the foot about 3 months ago when he sent out some stupid tweet that all the SJWs fucking ravaged him for. I can't remember exactly what it was, Gary.
Oh, somebody, Zach just did a video. Okay, for anybody who doesn't know, Boom Studios is a comic book distributor. They decided they needed to make a little extra money, and so what Boom Studios is essentially it's a pipeline for unused scripts in Hollywood, and Black Mask, Boom Studios, and other companies like IDW have decided to take on screenwriters as comic book writers. And what they do is they take these scripts that have been turned down, turn them into comic books, and then try to sell them to Netflix. That's their entire existence now. And sometimes you get a good story, sometimes you don't. And they got Keanu Reeves on, and I think it got optioned. It made $1 million, and it pissed off everybody who used to work for Boom Studios. So all these creatives went online going, I took $20 a page working for him because you're an idiot. Well, that's about how much you're worth, too. I saw some of the guys' art. But you find out that the comic book artists and writers make no money. I would say, other than the big stars, average salary of a comic pro is probably like $30,000 a year. That's great, but not when you're in New York.
But the head of Boom Studio sent out some tweet like 3 months ago that like irritated everybody. I can't think of what it is right now.
I can't remember it either. I don't even follow them on Twitter, but they did irritate everybody by the Berserk comic by putting it up on Kickstarter. Oh, yeah. And the Marxist, I call them the comrades, the comic comrades, got messed.
Yeah, but it's basic marketing. I mean, it looked interesting. It was something that appealed to me. It had a name brand. It's something that I want. I looked at the new Wonder Woman that's coming out, the big, beautiful,
fatty.
Black woman. I don't want that.
The Brazilian?
Whatever it is. I don't want it.
Racist.
Well, if there's one thing that's become very obvious, people have no idea what marketing is.
No, not anymore.
I guess you might like an Anne Boleyn either.
Oh.
Anne Boleyn?
Funny, Anne Boleyn.
Anne Boleyn?
The marvelous thing about what's been happening nowadays is that
why do you have that?
It's pretty nice. Pretty nice, good fun.
Why shouldn't he have it?
An Anglican?
No,
but the thing about all of this,
this is my Henry VIII mug. You pour the water into it, and the wives disappear.
Oh no, that's great.
And it tells their fate. But the way that we remembered it was from horrible histories. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived.
Indeed,
or gender swapped later in a historical drama.
So I used to bring this into class all the time just to show the kids.
Ah, that's great.
The amazing thing about all of this is simply this: is that because people understand that, granted, history has not revealed necessarily the greatest aspects or the most moral aspects of men. It does reveal some terrible tragedies. Well, and the fact of the matter is, with a lot of the movies that try to be historical fiction or try to do a sort of reenactment of history, to the point where now, because of ridiculous worldviews and ideologies, they feel that it's their duty, unfortunately, because a lot of them really do believe these things, they feel like it's their duty to try and make diversity a main thing in their movies to represent history, but that's not accurate. There were no, or let me put it this way, there was extremely small number of Black people in Great Britain at certain points in history. So the idea that they somehow want to bring them in as main characters, not even merely like side characters or like servants like they most likely would have been during those times, but they want to make them the main character, the main antagonist, the main protagonist. It rubs people the wrong way because it's not accurate history. People do want to see an accurate live action of what's actually happened in human history. That's one.
So true.
And two, when it comes into the comic, I'm not say comicscape, but with the comic book industry, I'm really glad that Comicscape really did come along. And yes, they had their own bumps. As for those of you that may be in depth as to what happened a little bit in the Comicscape community, but it's wonderful to see people like Ethan Van Sciver, John Malin, what's his name, Richard C. Meyer, and many, many more who seem to be coming out more and more and saying, okay, we really just had enough of this. We really need to come together and represent as best as possible classical heroism, classical stories that most fans actually loved, in spite of whether it had one race or one ethnicity, one religion, hell, even one sexuality over another. So that's one of the things I'm really glad about Comicsgate. And they really began to influence, or at least heavily influence, not totally, but definitely had a significant influence in crowdfunding and in independent comic book industries. I'm really glad about that because it shows people that they don't have to go through what the comics pros call proper channels, but they're able to create the stories they really want and present it to the people who actually want those kinds of stories, those kinds of heroes, those kinds of situations taking place.
Yeah, it's been good.
Have you seen Barbarians on Netflix, Baptist?
Not that I can recall. I've seen the advertisement, but I haven't actually seen the show.
Okay, yeah. So it's historically based, and while it's not as tactically in depth as someone like me would prefer, it's a little bit simplified when it comes to the warfare. It is uncompromising in terms of historical, the commitment to historical accuracy. So for that alone, it gets points. And then because it's Latins versus Germans or Romans versus Germans, it's all Latin and Germanic, and it is fun to just see people commit. It's really enjoyable. So what you were saying about that accuracy, you can tell historically accurate stories anywhere, just base it in the right country, in the right land, and there the people are.
It is. I mean, there's mythologies everywhere, right? Ace, Mr. Freeze, there's every culture has a mythology, be it spoken or not, but you could adapt movies off of mythology for the rest of time and you wouldn't cover it. And you can go around each country.
The best movie I've seen is A Man for All Seasons from 1967. It won Best Picture. It's basically the story of St. Thomas More and Henry VIII in the divorce battle. And it's one of my favorites.
Personally, one of the greatest historically accurate movies that I've seen in the last couple of decades was where Abraham Lincoln was killing vampires. That was amazing.
That happened, man. That really happened.
Or
I believe
totally Hamilton. Hamilton is a joke. Aaron Burr shot Alexander Hamilton because he needed to be shot. He's the one that started the Fed. And all these people in New York were going crazy about Hamilton. So I said, I got to see this. And he needed to be shot. It's not history. It's ridiculous. That is not what happened. But
it's a circle jerk.
Now think that it did.
No, you're right. There's a bunch of dummies out there. We're already going down that road. Idiocracy has arrived like 3 years ago. We just weren't paying attention or just said, fine, F it. I don't care. I don't know. We're going to have to, homeschooling is a serious option now for us. Like if we can't find something, which is a nightmare, but
who's going to do that? You or your wife?
I don't know.
Gary can do it. Gary would be an excellent teacher. We all agree with this, right?
Except for math and English and
spelling.
And spelling, especially spelling.
How is Gary going to give a grade for tardiness?
I think YouTube is an excellent teacher.
Just an A in tardiness.
Gary starts off every lesson by saying, I was kicked out of 3 high schools and also I went to prison. Don't mess with me.
That's the best life lessons right there.
Here's how you sucker punch somebody, okay?
Son, here's how you stay out of prison. Best lesson
Here's how you don't
Dad
get
could give
shanked.
you. Yeah. Yes, it
I had to share
is.
this. I had to share this.
Why we should audit the Fed, audit the Fed, audit the Fed,
That is so
dissolve
funny.
the Fed. Oh my God.
That's fine.
Sorry. I'm
Well,
crazy.
I think I'm going to pop off to let others on. So
Later, father.
Thank
Take
you
care,
for
guys.
the recommendation,
I'm
Man for All
going to go
Seasons.
with Father. Get
yeah,
somebody
it's a
else
good
to
movie.
do.
So
Take
I'll
care.
see y'all later.
I haven't
God
seen
bless
it
you,
either.
Father.
I haven't seen. So Barbarians, Netflix, good. Freeze.
It's decent. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the best person to ask because I'm there. Like I know what's happening. I know the history, and I'm waiting for things to happen in the battle scenes, which are towards the end. And so, like, I'm not. Like I wasn't the best judge of it, but I enjoyed it, and I think it has good things. And there's a few wasted scenes, but that's really it. Like,
does it cover like all eras or?
It is just the time period leading up to the destruction of Varys's army in the 1st century.
Okay.
So so it's like it starts off with this little boy being taken from his Germanic family, and like that, and then it's like 25 years later, and he's an equestrian getting his Roman knighthood, and but then he has to go back to Germany and lead his people.
Terrible, just terrible.
I mean, it's not bad.
That's cool.
I recommend people watch it to get a, at least for the history, because it like the characters are real. Like you're like, oh, this side character is not real. No, he's real, absolutely real. We have records of them, so like that's what's the fun for it.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Well, yeah,
That's very
based
cool.
on what I know of the story and the history, yeah, that ought to make a great series. But they got to get the end right.
It's simplified, so it's not like it's not warfare for people who have been watching YouTube videos about that time period since YouTube came out. Like YouTube historians and all that, like people really give put so much out there. That's great, and this is more of like the drama around it, but the acting's good, and so it's worth it.
Cool.
All right.
How's everybody doing this afternoon, huh?
Hell, Jake.
Hey, JD.
Hey. I hear Florida's a little warm.
It is, man. It is a touch hot out here today. Wandering around the Magic Kingdom, having a good time. Figured I'd take a break, pop in, say hey to y'all.
Hi, Jake.
It's good to see you, boss.
Someone says hi.
Jake.
Dog.
Oh, doggy.
I have so many of them.
Doggy cam.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I know there's a lot of mixed opinion about giving Disney cash and everything like that right now, but speaking for myself,
They need it.
I'm enjoying The Mandalorian quite a bit. And if you want them to be able to do content like that when they've got it right, they need some income. And
But the problem is, though,
if you guys enjoy the theme parks, they're doing a good job here. They really are. I mean, myself, I'd be willing to walk around no mask, whatever, but they keep everybody masked up. It's a little rough when it's hot like today, but otherwise they're doing a really good job here, y'all. And if anybody has some spare cash and wants to make a trip, you can get in easy.
like I said, I heard it's mixed on days because Clownfish said it was terrible. It was all fully packed and everything. And
I mean, it really depends on the person. I'll just leave it that. It's like there's some people like I love Clownfish, but sometimes you wake up glass half empty, you wake up glass half full. It just depends. I think they are a Disney snobs, and I mean that in the fullest respect. That they know their Disney up and down, left and right. They used to work for them, and so like as a Disney, like barely a normie, I kind of hate that company anyway. I always have. I would probably
I feel the same.
I think it's also because I think it's also because Disney has taken a lot of classic fairy tales, which were meant to teach lessons, and they changed it around so much to the point where it makes it seem like everything's always A-OK, is always peachy keen. And I understand the sentiment of wanting to provide people a happy ending. The unfortunate reality of what is taking place in Disney is that it changed around stories which were meant to teach something more important than just merely happy endings.
Like
and not
Star
only
Wars?
that,
I wouldn't disagree with you, but that's not exactly a new revelation with Disney. I mean, they've been doing that since the 50s and earlier even. But, anecdotally, I would tell you the place they're running about 50% capacity. I don't know what their official number is, but just from looking around and based on past visits, that's roughly what they're at. And, it's a good time, and I'm willing to patronize them, particularly when they're giving me a product I like, and I like the parks.
Yeah.
Just like I'm willing to patronize Vegas when we roll out there next month.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Disney has its good side. I'll admit, Disney does have its upsides. It's just that a lot of stories were sort of meant to be left where they're at, and that's what I would say when it comes down to Disney. That's one thing, and of course, for those of you that are aware, Disney and Hollywood, for the most part, has run out of a lot of creative stories to tell. So, or at least,
well, ain't that the truth?
Well, let me put it this way. They probably have a lot of writers and creators that are able to bring forth compelling stories. They're terribly afraid of the political implications of some of those stories, which is why you don't see too many of them. Because I'm willing to believe there are.
I don't think so.
I'm
Because as
willing
someone
to
who's
believe
trying
that
to get into the industry, I know some of the workabouts and stuff. It's not that they're scared; they can't get into it. Here's the thing:
what do you mean?
When you're a writer and stuff, you have to go through all these systems and all these things. And when it comes down to it, it's a pay-to-win system, basically.
Yeah.
If you have enough contacts and you have enough money, that's how the stories get on screen.
And if you're
At
somebody's
least a more
nephew
likely chance.
or cousin or brother, there's the meritocracy is really corrupted.
So nepotism.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
Jon Favreau's not in charge of Lucasfilm, so we all know that's a true statement.
Right.
Yeah.
Case in point. Yeah.
I don't know if he wants to be, though. I mean, there's a lot of talk of him doing that, but and you would think it'd be a no-brainer, but some people don't want that much power. They've been in Hollywood long enough to know where that leads.
Well, you know what? Not wanting it makes me want him in charge of it more.
Exactly. That's why I'm not sure if he wants it or not. He might. Maybe he's over directing.
But if you were like the head of Disney and you had your best asset and then your best director, you would it's not like a hockey team where you like divide up your best players and have each line strong. Like, no, you would put that together. So I think it's just bad leadership.
It is. It absolutely is. And bad leadership from Iger and Kennedy. Iger deserves just as much criticism as Kennedy, in my opinion.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
I think Iger might have to say goodbye to that presidential thing he wanted to do. Because I don't think he's getting it.
Oh, that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed.
He spent so much on Fox, and then it's basically his downfall. He bought Fox, and now it's actually Fox that comes to haunt him.
Yeah, well, I mean, the acquisition of Fox is a big part of why they're in so much financial trouble right now. They would have had a much easier time weathering this storm if they hadn't forked over all that cash for Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I take the position that Disney and Fox should not have combined together from the very beginning. And truth be told, not just merely Disney and Fox, but primarily Marvel Studios and Disney should not have came together to begin with, because it gave way to what a lot of people. Someone has a lot of static or something in their background. I forget who that is. But one of the things I certainly noticed is that I honestly believe is that, and I mentioned this on Father Odin's channel. I call him Father because he's a Catholic, but I noticed that on his channel when I really believe Disney and Marvel should not have combined to begin with, because it gave way to an agenda that people were hinting at in the late 80s, somewhat early 90s, when it came down to Disney in and of itself, that there was some kind of agenda that just wasn't right, that really would not benefit Disney in the long run. So I personally believe Marvel Studios should have stuck it out a little bit and then combined with Fox like years and years ago, because then we would have had the MCU proper without necessarily the agenda that Disney wants to bring in.
Should have been. I mean, Marvel died the day Disney bought them, and I suspected that the day it happened. I'm like, this could be it. This could be the end, and it was. It absolutely was.
I kind of fear, though, how this will go to video games now, because already there's been 2 movies recently, video game movies, and now Hollywood might be looking at it because it was the last successful thing before COVID.
Here's the biggest problem with that. The gaming industry dwarfs Hollywood. Absolutely dwarfs it. If it was a gaming industry of 15, 20 years ago, Hollywood could afford to, they can still buy specific studios, but the gaming industry could buy Hollywood, and Silicon Valley runs Hollywood right now. So it'd be more of a Silicon Valley thing, which hasn't been able to figure out gaming. Ask Google. And I know shit about gaming. I know Stadia is lame.
Game movie, cough.
Yeah, exactly. And
God.
and Hollywood is the old model. Scripted movies and television are a 20th century model. And I think one thing, if you follow trends, if you've watched from the year 2000 to now, what we have systematically been getting rid of year after year after year is 20th century models. That's why I get hung up on this Douglas Adams quote. It was from his very last interview, where he said entertainment's going to change. It's going to become more like it was in the 1800s, where it has to be interactive. And games are interactive. That is 21st and beyond century. And the stuff that isn't interactive, I mean, why is Comicsgate successful? Why is Indiegogo? Because of the platforming, the interaction with the customer. That's why it's successful. It's not it really has, the books have to be good too, but that actually doesn't come first. What comes first is your platform, your personality, and being able to sell that book and honestly eat the man's Skyrim. But
and that's why you're going to have 1 million subs next year, Gary. That right there.
So, looking in the comments, there's actually an interesting comment, though, that actually could lead to a little bit of a downfall in video game stuff. One of the comments from Ironcaster says, "You guys see that Google Stadia dev saying streamers should pay a license?"
Yeah.
He got ripped up and down for it too.
Yep, he got destroyed for it. And It's a Gundam put out a pretty good video on it. And Google, I think somebody from Google later came out and said, "Oh, he wasn't serious about that."
Yeah. Oh, he was deadly serious, and I wouldn't be shocked to see it in the not terribly distant future, to be honest with you. And it's going to come from, quite frankly, the major streamers. Historically, if you look at it, whenever you start having a budding new industry, and streaming, YouTube, this platform that we're on, this is a new industry of the type. And what happens is the guys who get big first, a lot of times they then bring in your lobbyists, guys like that, to put up barriers to entry for their competition.
Well, even then, that seems to be billing, because look at Ninja. He tried to...
Hang on. Let Jake finish.
Yeah, and that's what creates your monopolies in your industries at the end of the day. The vast majority of them are government created, despite the fact that we got all these antitrust laws and what have you. When guys get big, they then lobby for new laws because they're trying to protect things, right? It's always under the guise of making things better, safer, what have you. And it would not shock me. You guys remember this. Give it about 2 to 3 years, maybe faster, depending on who comes out as the winner next week. We'll see. But protectionist rackets and barriers to entry is exactly how you do that. So when Google's talking about licensing, you're damn right they meant it. And yeah, he got blown up for it this week. But you guys wait a year or two, and there's going to be a lot of push from a lot of people who like to control the populace. It's going to be there. And it's going to be a barrier to entry to smaller channels like mine. And, for that matter, yours too, Gary. Although you could probably, depending on how bad it was, you could probably swing it. But, obviously a guy like me can't.
Yeah. Well, Gary, I'm sorry. If I may
I was
ask
just
you
going
really
to say with the licensing thing on gaming, do you think he got a little talking to behind the scenes too, like letting a cat out of the bag, possibly a little too early?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Big mouths. It's just hard to keep. It's hard to keep secrets these days.
I am curious though, just because Stadia bombed. Just I don't know. I remember all I heard about Stadia when it came out. I watched a couple videos about how bad it was, and then I have just not heard a damn thing about Stadia since. Which I'm just kind of curious about what the next step will be from there.
They don't even know.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like Google has had failures. It's not like this is their first one. Like they did try to enter the social media space and couldn't. So it's not like they're impervious to failures and either trying to figure out another thing or just going on to the next thing.
Google should just rely on YouTube. See, Google probably Google's filled with redundancy. I'm not breaking any news here for you guys. Like it's filled with it. They could cut half their staff and they'd be fine. Probably. There's probably so many fucking execs and assistants and managerial divisions that you don't need some research that became the CEOs. Like, I don't know. The great example of the John Peters, the producer, got hung up on spiders because the kid did a report on it in school. So he wanted a giant spider in a fucking movie and he kept on trying to push it, ended up in Wild Wild West, but it was supposed to be in Superman, blah, blah, blah. Same thing happens with Google. Their kid does a thing while they're microdosing acid. They get all hooked on it and they like create an entire division for it that costs like millions of dollars because they have it. And it's times like these.
Warner Brothers effect.
Yeah. Like, Google makes a lot of money in advertising and I think they want to be more. But yeah, they failed at a lot of stuff like Google Fiber. What happened to that? Google Glass.
It's still a thing. Fiber.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I have Google Fiber, which is fun.
But the marvelous thing about YouTube is that, and granted, yes, because Google is indeed the owner of YouTube and pretty much, and because of that, it does make it difficult for smaller channels like Jake and many others who are trying to sort of rise up through the ranks and get a lot of subscribers. It does make it more difficult for them. While on the same token, it does provide some kind of level of freedom for interactions such as we have here on this live stream, so that there can be more connections made. There can be more opportunities for people to step out of the shadows and bring forth content that would be more satisfactory to the general population at the same time. And secondly, I did want to ask you a quick question, Uncle Gary, about Marvel and Disney. I was about to say DC, but Disney. What was your initial thought process once you realized that once indeed the news came out that Disney had bought Marvel? What was your initial reaction, if you could describe it a little bit?
That the comics would suffer and the movies would be great. That was my very first reaction.
So you essentially believe that the comic books would
sold their soul to the devil.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly it. And we're paying the price.
And the devil wears mouse ears.
Yes.
All right. So, Gary, I got one final little story for you, and then I'm going to head out and go hop on the Jungle Cruise. So,
attaboy.
I was sitting down talking with a couple in the smoke pit this last night, and they just recently completed their own Cal exit.
Oh.
They sold property in San Diego and San Francisco because they both owned homes. And moved out to Dallas. And the interesting thing here, and why I want to make sure to tell you this story is, I'm chatting with them, and the guy said they had to buy the house sight unseen. The place that they bought, there were 8 offers on it on the first day it was on the market.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
And not only that. This last little nugget will really open your eyes a little bit, but apparently every place they had put an offer in on, they basically got screened by the homeowners to make sure that they weren't leftist crazies.
That's
yes.
Great. That's great. That's great. I am in.
Yes.
I love that.
Oh yes, I fucking love it. That gives me hope. No,
yes. the people selling the property are not selling to leftists.
Nice.
Awesome.
So,
that's amazing.
There may be hope for Texas yet.
Yeah, and this couple, they were telling me though, this is a downside for you, Gary. They had to live in the house for about 6 weeks without all their stuff because it took that long for the moving company to get scheduled, get them packed, and get their stuff moved to Dallas.
Jesus.
That is exactly why we're just taking our time. I mean, it's like we weren't going to get out of here before the election, and the immediate need was to get out of San Francisco. Our house needs a ton of work, so we just replaced our floors. And by the way, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we have to do it in increments, and once the floors are done, fix the backyard. Yeah, because I have 3 dogs and I can't bring 2 of them here. I can only bring 1 dog here. So I haven't seen my 2 dogs in a couple months. I'm starting to feel it a little bit. That's good. That's good to hear. God, that encourages things. You know, and I might end up in Texas. I might end up in Utah. You never know.
Well, when you make your trip out here, be sure to let me know because I want to grab a coffee with you, brother.
It is coming soon. Coming very, very soon.
All right. And then, final note, unlike what you guys have got going on in California, I'm having a proper party at my place on Thanksgiving. My folks are going to be in town. My kids will be in town. My best friend and her son are going to be there. My girlfriend's going to be there. We're going to have a proper, 15, 16, 18 people. Who knows? It'll blow up. It'll be a lot of fun. And everybody in Texas is okay with that, Gary.
Great.
Nice. Same here.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. I'm going to listen while I'm in line for the Jungle Cruise, but y'all have a great day.
All right, think about the rock.
Hey, Jake, take care of yourself. Be safe, brother.
Take care.
Jungle Cruise movie, right? With the
Jungle
Rock.
Cruise.
Weren't they doing a Jungle Cruise movie with the Rock?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I definitely want to make a comment about the house, about the selling of homes thing. I normally wouldn't encourage discrimination, while on the same token, I understand the sentiment of wanting to avoid a lot of the crazy social justice warriors on the left. So I'll simply say it is what it is. Again, I definitely don't want to encourage discrimination necessarily because of people's politics, but I understand why. So I'm not going to sit here and necessarily condemn them for it. But with all that being said,
if you have 8 offers to choose from, do whatever you want.
Oh, what we did when we bought our house in San Francisco, we were not the highest bidder, not even freaking close, to be honest with you. But we were a family. So when we moved in, we had my wife's best friend, Akemi Tarabuku. She's brilliant. She's a good friend of ours. And her kid were living with us, right? So I was Jack Tripper, by the way. I was living with 2 beautiful ladies, and so we moved from this apartment, and Akemi had her kid, and we had Indigo, and we wrote a letter. We wrote a letter to this house, like, hey, here's a single mom. We got a single mom with us who, the dad is gone under very unfortunate circumstances, and she's trying to get her career going so her kid has a future. And then we're a new family, and we just sent a picture of Akemi and Melissa and the 2 kids with that letter with our bid, got us the house. Boom.
Nice.
Instantly.
Oh, really nice.
So couldn't believe it. I mean, everything in the letter was the truth. It was the absolute truth, but we just wanted to put that little add-on with it, and it worked. Yeah, because there's no way we would have. Even in 2003, the houses were expensive. Trust me. There's still more than the ones in San Antonio we're looking at now. They're twice as much as the ones we're looking at in San Antonio right now.
Well, on that positive note, Uncle Gary, I'm actually going to head off of the live stream. It has been really nice talking with all of you guys. So
take it easy, man.
You too, Baptist.
Bye now.
All right.
Hey,
God
great to
bless
meet
you.
you.
Out there. Don't get
Take care.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
We got
So you guys want to see the dumbest thing?
Is it another dog?
It's 2020. You're gonna have to really try.
You gotta look at the high bar.
I was on Twitter earlier this morning. Yeah. What do you got?
Give it a shot.
Let me pull it up. Let me see. Give me a second.
Hey, Paulie.
Paulie. Hi, Ginger.
Hey, Paulie.
Ginger, are you like, I don't know, are you standing in front of the door of heaven or something like that? Or
No, I just haven't. Yes, I am actually. My back porch leads to heaven.
It does. Yeah.
That's handy.
And I just have intense backlighting, basically.
Andy. Polly,
Let me see.
Paulie.
Hey, handsome, you got a haircut.
Hey, guys. Hola. Happy Day of the Dead.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, happy Day of the Dead to you.
This is a great weekend for me. It's my birthday weekend, so I get to enjoy all kinds of cool stuff.
What is that noise?
Oh.
Sounds like a train.
Oh.
Somebody's under attack.
Somebody's under attack. Hang on. Yeah.
Sounds like a fax machine. Whoa.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, so I got it ready. So let me pull it up.
Nice helmet. That is beautiful, Ironcaster.
Are you 501st Ironcaster?
Oh no! I wish. I have like $300-$400 to go and put together for a kit.
I am honored to be a member of the 501st.
Oh,
You guys ready to see the helmet thing?
hang on. Let's see it. Okay, we're going to see it.
This.
Oh, this is. Oh, come on. This comes out every year.
This was official. So.
Oh
this
shoot!
is
It's
the
official.
funny thing. Yeah, it was sent by my school. It was even sent by a bunch of officials from the state. So, start here. Is my costume a part of my culture? Let's just say I want to be a ninja. No. Do I have a personal relationship to the culture? No. Cultural appropriation.
What do you mean? A personal relationship to the culture? I'm a big anime fan, so of course I have a personal relationship to being a ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You understand the cultural significance completely?
Yes, I'm a big weeb.
Does my costume objectify?
What's wrong with cultural appropriation?
Yeah, this sounds like a reason. I'm going to be an Indian next year.
I was going to say,
emphasize or mock someone's disability. So basically, if it's a part of my culture, yes, it's not cultural appropriation. But if I have I have to basically understand. Like, if I want to be a ninja, you have to understand what they are. You must
have to go to
everything.
ninja school.
I read Frank Miller's
Yes,
Daredevil.
I went to ninja school.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I love does my costume
You know what's funny?
objectify, exoticize, sexualize a culture? It's like, no, it sexualizes me. That's the fucking point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I read Daredevil.
You
Frank
know-
Miller. I'm an expert on ninjas.
And you're blind too, right?
Yes. Oh, I am actually. If I took my glasses off, it could be Daredevil.
Yeah,
You're
blind
right.
lawyer.
Yeah, see, exactly. So you're not mocking a disability or anything because you are also blind.
Oh well, I'm
It's
Indian,
Daredevil,
but
yeah.
I'm white passing, so
I was gonna say-
I can't be an Indian for Halloween.
Lori, where did you go? She did the Irish goodbye. She just dipped. Thanks.
Always Daredevil is
Nice to
embraced.
talk to Lori. I haven't talked to Lori since I was in New York. She came by the meetup. It was awesome. She was brilliant, and she went over.
Sounds like home.
She went over to help Bird of Prey with, I believe, his dog without even meeting him. She just he needed help with the dog. She went over and did it. Took care of it.
That's pretty impressive.
That's what we are. So
So, hey, Gary, did you see that memeology video of the person in the clown outfit talking about how to stay safe on Halloween? Because, it's called We Live in a Crown Ward, and basically there were these officials.
Oh, the Oregon official. Yeah. No, it was an actual Oregon official.
But
official.
you want to know the funny thing? The one he showed after he claimed it was a furry. They were actually he was using a costume of Totoro. So they're already going against. You want to know something funny?
I don't know what any of this is.
Totoro's from an anime.
I'm
So
sorry,
if
Logan.
we
I know
go to
what
my,
Totoro
no,
is.
if we go to my thing,
The
let's
anime
see.
pajamas.
A, she's not anime's not a part of her culture. She does not have a personal relationship to it. She's already doing cultural appropriation. So basically, she fails in her. She basically fails
in
the
regards.
rest.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The worst part is like their presentation. Yeah.
So in regards.
What's up, Polly?
Hey, I was just gonna say, like, dressing up as ninjas and martial artists, being a black belt. You know, that's the thing you don't do. You don't go dressed as a black belt. You know, that's because it's like, oh man, you can't be making fun of your black belt or whatever like that. You know, we kind of have a thing, but it's that's kind of different than I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Y'all
That
are
sounds a
talking
little
about, but
sensitive for a
it's just
bunch of
kinda-
martial artists.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You're not allowed to wear that color belt on dress up day.
You're wearing the wrong bandana.
Well,
there,
because it's not a costume. It's not a costume, right? So it's like, you know.
Well,
that's kind of
right.
like
Not for the people who are using it in the way that like a police officer's uniform is not a costume, especially for a police officer. You know, like, but it is a costume when it's on a 10-year-old.
I'm just giving it.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but like,
it's not. I'm not giving my opinion.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's Halloween. It's a costume. I mean, like this is the
It's-
product of a good society. When you know when things are good, when we're arguing over things like this.
Yeah.
When we feel like of this
I think
and
about that constantly. Ever since, especially I think because you said it the most, Gary, and I think before COVID in particular, I just think about that all the time. Where it's like, man, we live in such a luxurious society to be talking and complaining about these things.
yeah, we're not worried about where our next meal is coming from. We're not worried about our water. You know, like water.
Yeah.
We I mean, it's so. What if they shut that off? That's bad. Let's not even get to the internet. The worst thing, if they shut off our internet, what would we do? To each other.
No, yeah, and just to finish on that silly idea was that
Polly, we're
this
waiting.
is a dramatic pause, man.
That was a dramatic pause.
Oh no, man! I every time I just wanted to wrap it up on that one, because the flip side is that purists in martial arts, they were getting in fights and feuds when Bruce Lee and other martial artists went to different countries and would teach Chinese, non-Japanese martial arts. So it's pretty interesting. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh yeah, there's purists everywhere.
Well, especially in the art itself, you know, like when you're doing real martial arts, like you should have respect for the training and the heritage and just like everything that's going into you learning this amazing thing. But like little Timmy and Jimmy and Sally, unless they're like, it's Halloween, and anybody who's, you know, I don't know. I always found that martial artists seem to be the more confident of people. You know,
Well,
like they're the
it's
ones
funny.
who are like, I can kill you, so I'm going to be nice.
Sometimes.
It's funny that
At least in my context.
It really depends.
It's funny that you picked.
You know what I don't do? I don't wear my outfit or my black belt around asking for respect, because then you get into trouble. You look mighty silly.
Right.
As my name is Tim, I appreciate you
Really,
using
really.
little Timmy.
I love Tims. Anybody who's a Tim or a Timmy is number one in my book.
Well, thank you. And as a martial artist, I would never wear any of my accoutrements because I don't want to tell people that I'm a martial artist. It's self-defense. If something happens, I want to surprise them because I want to be able to eliminate the threat with as little force as necessary. If they see me walking around with a black belt or whatever, they're going to think, well, this guy is probably or could be a martial artist. So I'm going to up the threat. I don't want to be dealing with guns or knives. I just want to bang, bang, it's done. So
the key to grifting and self-defense is convince everybody you're the dumbest guy in the room.
Hey guys, why do I hear Twitter screaming in the background? Oh, they're waiting.
That's great for undercover officers too. They want to fool you into believing that they're the weakest guy in the room, so that you underestimate them. That's
I mean, I will
prime
say it's also a great business move sometimes when I have to talk to vendors or customers and like I know the answer, but I'll be like, I'll just play dumb. Because I just play dumb and then I get them to explain their stupid ass complaint to me. And it typically works out really well in my favor.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, Paulie. Absolutely, 100%.
Yep.
Well, on that flip side, one year I was Negan for Halloween. No one ever said, "Hey, you're Mexican. You can't be Negan." I look like him, so I just had the outfit, and I love Negan.
You're not in a zombie apocalypse. You can't play him.
Yeah.
You can't possibly understand what it's like to live through a zombie apocalypse. How dare you appropriate the culture?
I'm sad to admit,
a mass murderer.
I'm sad to admit I'm not really a pile of orange rocks, but I have his picture. But I wish I was.
I'm disappointed.
I'm not actually a ginger.
Yes, well, I am a ginger. I think we laugh at that, and what the scary thing about laughing at that is, there was a lot of ha 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 ha, but that's exactly what's happening to our pop culture today. So it's amusing, but it's also sad.
Oh yeah, they're getting rid of us all.
I know. Did you see what happened recently on Twitter? So
narrow it down.
So, as I believe most of you may know, Sean Connery's dead, and it really broke my heart because the funny thing is, I was named after him. My first name is Connery, so of course I made you respect for the guy. But then you see these dirtbags on Twitter basically like, hey, it's a white male, let's shit on him. Let's be racist, sexist, and everything because he's a white
he's
male.
a misogynist and all this other shit. I saw that.
And that's how you know that those are the people that you never have to waste your time on.
His first mistake was actually being on Twitter.
Right.
Second mistake was not leaving Twitter.
Luckily,
there you go.
Well, my first non-mistake was that I left Twitter, and my first non-mistake was leaving Twitter. My first mistake was actually watching YouTube videos about Twitter.
Or signing up for Twitter. I think that we have to remember, rest in peace, Sir Sean Connery. And I wanted to say just one thing about that. If you wanted to see the poster child for an alpha male, that was the man.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
He did say something a little unfortunate.
He didn't give a shit.
Back in 1987, no, he does not give a shit when he was asked directly by Barbara Streisand, Barbara Walters.
Close.
Or Barbara Broccoli for that matter.
Or Barbara, yeah. She didn't care either. Yeah, because he got the Indiana Jones gig right after this interview. But he said, I'd hit a woman on the right occasion, no problem. I don't back that statement at all in any way, shape, or form. But he is from another time, another era, and he said that in 1987. I'm sure his thoughts might have evolved or didn't, whatever. And what we don't do is judge somebody by one action. Maybe he grew to regret it, and all the people canceling him. Jeremy thought of this great troll, which was awesome, and I'm going to start using it every time. So when somebody popped up on Twitter and said all men should die. So Jeremy, somebody, it might not have been Jeremy, it might have been somebody else, answered with, so you believe, it was Jeremy. So you believe George Floyd deserved to die? And then the person
nice.
That being said, do you believe all men who've hit a woman once and maybe in anger or mistake, which is never okay, ever okay, but they did their time in jail, they should be in jail for the rest of their life? All those black men in there who have done it, made a mistake, maybe heat of the moment, whatever, they don't deserve have a second chance at life now that they've done their time. Or you just got to turn that around on them. The logic falls apart all the time, and that's why I need to leave. I'm out at the end of the year. I got to stick to that. It's going to be hard, and it might not be good for the channel, but it'll be good for my brain.
You're right, Gary.
I think it will be good for the channel.
Easy to get off Twitter. Trust me, I left Twitter. I never regretted it.
We have to use their rhetoric against them and their logic against them because they're not the most intelligent people in the world. They're just using what everybody else is using. So the reason why Twitter is just so crazy is because all of these people, they see what the last person has written and they just kind of build on that. They never come up with an original thought or original idea, which is why Disney bought all these companies, because they can't come up with an original idea. So I'm just glad that Jon Favreau is involved with The Mandalorian. I hope it gets better the rest of the year. I enjoyed the first episode of this season, but I saw a lot of things that bothered me. But I think that it's good for average Star Wars television, and I'll keep watching. Now, I can't say the same thing for Discovery, but anyway.
Do you use Twitter and Logic in the same sentence?
Yeah.
I have about 10 more days left on my Disney Plus, and I'll enjoy it for the next probably 2 or 3 episodes, and then I'll have to find some other way to watch it.
Okay. That's a
Yeah,
question.
it's called piracy. It's
I
still a
canceled
thing.
my CBS now that Lower Decks is gone, which is like I kept it for Picard and Lower Decks, and Picard was a mistake. Lower Decks, I don't even feel bad about that mistake. That's like, easing myself off of Star Trek, and now I'm off.
I got to tell you that right now, as we speak, because I'm doing my Picard review, I'm at episode 3 or 4, right? I'm almost at episode 5. And as far as things, it's still outpacing Star Trek Discovery Season 3, which is pretty stupid. But Picard is immensely stupid, and I think I'm going to stick by my statement by saying Picard was actually worse than Star Trek Discovery. So
I look forward to that argument.
Which one gets you more views?
Nobody cares about Star
Gary,
Trek.
which one is getting you more views?
Picard was getting more views than Star Trek. To Star Trek Discovery, Picard got me the most views out of Star Trek stuff.
Well, I mean, Picard had Jean-Luc as the series star, so
JL.
You want to know something?
Sorry, I got triggered there.
There are these voice generators where you can basically make these characters stay stuck by putting text. I have no idea. Okay, so there's this text-to-speech generator app, and there's several of them that popped up, one of which actually is called vocoders, and you can basically make like an actor like Arnold or a character like Sonic, and you can easily type down text, and it generates a voice. I would love to get one of a card so I can literally do a reverse of that one scene from STP where basically he's the one who's basically shitting on the Sir Admiral Hubris. That'd be the funniest thing.
It would. Although that's a pretty good meme now. It's like the one good thing that's come out of it.
Useful, at least.
It is.
I was going to say with Connery, when I was a little kid and I first saw Highlander, and he was training Lambert, and I remember him saying, "Now, pendejo," and I looked at the screen and I looked at my mom and go, "Did he just say pendejo?" And we looked it up. Sure enough, he said pendejo.
Yeah, he did. Because he's playing a Spaniard.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and
right. That's such a SoCal word, you know.
It totally is.
Sean Connery was the first transracial actor.
Yeah.
Like I said,
he played a Russian.
It made you respect him.
Same way.
It was awesome, man.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
What's the movie he was in with
it was great,
about Elliot Ness?
Untouchables.
Thank you.
Had the award for that.
Untouchables. He won the
that
Best
was
actor.
my first Sean Connery movie, and it was great.
Good.
And then I think the next one was actually The Rock.
You know, Connery doesn't get. You know, a guy's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, an actor is cool when he has to turn down a role and they still name heaven after him. Star Trek V, he was supposed to be Cybok, and couldn't do it because of a conflict with Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade. So they named the planet Shakari.
That was probably a good decision.
Wow.
Losers whine about doing their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zavala was the prom queen. Yeah.
You know, I really wanted to try getting Sir Sean, in a short I was doing, but I never was able to get him. And, well, I don't think I'll ever get that chance again, so it's sad, but he has such a legacy, so.
Yeah, I think he pretty much gave up on acting after League anyway. I think
Well, we don't mention that 2012 disaster.
After his tax issues, and then it must have just shattered his heart when Scotland decided to not go independent from the UK. That must have I bet you that pissed him off so much. He's a Scotsman, hardcore Scotsman, so, or was.
Never said he's Brit, right?
So the Mandalorian. Did everybody see the Mandalorian?
No.
I'm having about a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 myself.
I'm waiting for the reviews because
I'm waiting for the end of the season.
I'm stuck on the whole second season. Gonna be fucking broke. The boys proved it again. So.
Oh, you did? So far, it isn't. But
it's the first episode.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm very glad that I wait for a series or a season to end. Like, for example, there was the Game of Thrones situation. I never got into it. Glad I didn't, because it turned out it ended a disaster. So I didn't get invested in something that ended a disaster.
Like, I had a buddy who kept bugging me, and he finally put the first 5 seasons on DVR for me. I watched it; it was great, and then I watched the last 3 seasons. Like, what the fuck am I watching right now? It was just failure after failure after failure, and it was like a subtle downgrade. That it was disgusting to watch.
I don't regret not watching it. I'm glad I watched it because I really did. I mean, the potential was there, and when you see potential, that means they can do somebody different can do something like that again. Because Game of Thrones was an utter disaster and failure, but it did change television, forever.
Well, then you also get the Last Jedi.
You can do fantasy, of course. Disney, books will be written. I mean, I know the author Stephen Wald, by the way, fan, go check it out, is writing a book, but I think other books will be written as well about the Disney disaster because it's textbook. It's textbook failure. It really is. In a lot of ways, this whole era is textbook failure in a lot of ways. And I don't know if, again, scripted television will always be around. Not saying it's not going to be around, but it might not be the most important thing anymore as far as entertainment, as far as go-to. And we're seeing all the 20th century models again, sports, the NFL, which I thought was untouchable. It would be around forever, outlive me by 1,000 years. I don't know. I mean, it'll still be around, but boxing was the biggest sport in America a long time ago. And baseball was the biggest sport in America a long time ago. And things come and go.
Yep.
And like that for Hollywood too. They did it to themselves.
Yes, they do.
So yeah, I thought the Mandalorian was okay. I did. I can't stand the music. That's about it. That's the only complaint I have about it.
So it's so out of place.
Yeah,
Gary,
but I thought it was being upside.
I have to admit, I fell asleep.
You did?
Really?
It was a repeat.
Yeah.
I mean, they did plot at the first season. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh wow! Does he rehash things?
They rehashed a. So you remember the Jawa episode where the Jawas had to get the creature out of the cave, and they essentially do the same thing. With the
Yeah.
So.
It's
The best stuff is the character.
Yeah,
The
it was
character
just
stuff
like-
between. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Between the Marshal and the Mandalorian, that was the best stuff. The character stuff between them.
Yep.
Oliphant was really good, but
I think what they did, I think Clobber, and I think you're hitting it on the head there. And I think what they wanted to do though is come in strong. Timmy, hey there, Timothy Oliphant, great name by the way, Timothy. I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to drop some really interesting member berries, as we've been calling it. The Crate Dragon, obviously we saw the skeleton that C-3PO walks past in Star Wars. I will never say Star Wars 4, by the way. It's Star Wars, period. They wanted to drop that. They wanted to bring the Jawas in, so they wanted to come out really strong. You've got Boba Fett's armor, maybe Boba Fett at the close of that episode. Spoilers. They might have They wanted to do a little drop with the Krayt Dragon because everybody has kind of heard that in the extended universe culture of Star Wars. The Krayt Dragon's a big thing. Go LA. Oh, no, wait. Did they win? The Dodgers won, right?
They sure did.
You wanted to see...
Yes, sir.
I know that we know from the expanded universe all about the Marshal and his background. I know they did it differently in the show, but Timothy Olyphant really chewed up the screen when every episode or every scene he was in. I like the actor. I think he's really matured significantly from the days of his early work. But I think that Star Wars is trying really hard to bring back us fans who really are still feeling that soul-wrenching movie trilogy that we just watched, right? And as a member of the 501st, I obviously know my Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I'm more a Star Trek fan than Star Wars, but I still love it.
What are you doing in the 501st?
Well, I help sick children whenever I can. The best...
Okay, so you're taking a medical leave of absence from Starfleet to go to the 501st.
I will say this. My crew here in Ottawa, the best things that I've ever seen in my life, and this comes from being a Mountie as well and wearing the red serge, right? So going into these hospitals or into these sick shelters and seeing these kids look up at you with these big, big eyes and going, oh, wow, stormtroopers and Darth Vader. And it's just, that is what they want to see and what we want to see. And the fact that some of them are critically ill and some of them are deathly ill, and they get a chance to forget all that pain and anguish for a few minutes just so that they can spend some time with us is just awesome. So that's the main reason why I'm a member of the 501st. I like working with kids. So anyway, I'll let you guys talk. I'm talking a lot.
Sleep.
Yeah, it was kind of a
scary.
snoozer.
Even though I fell asleep, I saw that first part, and the biggest, it showed such a big hole that they're going to have to deal with, is that Timothy Olyphant, he got to take it off and put it back on, the armor. And he's such a great actor. I mean, I love Olyphant. And you're like, isn't that, I would love that for The Mandalorian, for Pedro Pascal or whatever actor it is, to be able to take it off at the end of the game. You get to see his human face and he's got to put it back on. That's a big hole because it's like you really don't care about the Mandalorian as much as these other characters.
He's a good-looking actor, but I'm of the opinion that the audience should have never seen the Mandalorian's face. That in that scene in season 1 where he takes the helmet off, the audience should have only seen the back of his head. And look, I understand that there's the actor's reason wanting to have that face on screen. I mean, Sylvester Stallone and Judge Dredd, but it should have kept to the mystery because I think, as Doomcock said, it allows the audience to go and put their own emotion onto the character.
So, like the Dredd reboot that everyone likes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Also,
that's a good example.
I had more emotional ties. I had more emotional ties to Oliphant. I quickly got emotional ties to Oliphant's character right away.
The one thing I would say that bothered me about him was the fact that he rode off into the desert without a helmet on.
Yeah.
Sand in the eyes.
Yeah.
Dramatic. I'm just talking for dramatic sake, like cinematic, like for storytelling. It's like it's a great. It's such a Western. They want to go for this Western vibe. But yeah,
they don't like sand.
I don't know. Yeah, that's just my opinion. But
yeah. No, it's Oliphant. I love the guy as an actor. He's one of those guys I would cast in everything. If I was a director, I'd put him in everything. He's just a little scrawny in that armor.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't bulk him up. I mean, like he didn't want to wear it fully, and I understand. And he's just a skinny guy. It's the way he is. But I was like, ooh, he looks scrawny, and you see how big whoever was in the suit for the Mando was. It might have been. I don't know how big Pedro is, but
he's not big.
Yeah, I thought that was him.
Pedro Pascal's like an LA Silver Lake hipster. They make him like this big exotic guy. You ever see an interview with him? He's all, "Hey, dude, how's it going? My name's Pedro." And
You think they're going to try killing him off at the end of the season, like those rumors are suggesting?
that I think it'd be terrible. I like Pedro Pascal as an actor. He was freaking great as the Red Viper, as over Martel. I think he should take his mask off. I agree with his assessment completely. I think it's ridiculous that they're keeping the helmet on.
I agree.
I think it's you cannot follow a main character where you can't see his eyes. That's not a cartoon.
It's right. It's a cinema, especially for a TV show. It's just incredibly hard to stay connected to the lead character, guys. That's why everyone's talking more about Big Yoda. And then you see Timothy Oliphant for one episode. You're like, wow, that's cool. That's all I meant.
No,
I understand the lore.
I wonder if with the Boba Fett outfit, if they tried to stay cinematically accurate, because it was kind of piecemeal. I don't know if there was supposed to be pieces missing or that it wasn't supposed to really fit because it wasn't customly made for that character in character. When I'm talking as in...
Would have been dissolved by the Sarlacc, right?
Right. Well, yeah, it should have been.
Should have been. Unless
there should have been no paint.
Some kind of... Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you're right. So did it spit him out? That's... that big reveal at the end was cool.
And you were saying like he's kind of an LA hipster guy.
He's
such a great actor that I would, when I saw Narcos, he was such a badass DEA agent. I was,
yep.
Then you see an interview, you're like, oh wow, he's a good actor.
You totally did, right? Yeah. He sounds like a little blonde white guy. That's what he sounds like. He sounds like he hangs out over Lake.
He's fluent for Chile. He's fluent.
Now that's awful stereotypical blonde white guy.
Yep. No. The beard and the lumberjack stuff and the avocado toast and thrifting with his girlfriend, going out to get vinyl. Yeah, that's what Pedro is.
Vegan tacos. Tacos.
It's not, I don't have like 100 friends. Well, I don't have that many friends, but we'll say 20 friends in LA that are exactly like that. So I know the crowd.
I think you have about 300,000 friends, don't you?
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
They're not all in LA.
More.
Hey, I'm gonna get off, but I just wanted to say,
hey, congrats to your Dodgers. Congrats to your Dodgers.
Congrats, Dodgers.
Yeah.
Congrats.
But I wanted to say Feliz Dia de los Muertos. I have my little altar here. I want to show you guys real quick.
Oh, did you hear that? I clapped and said congrats to the Dodgers, and my Google showed me the final score.
I did.
What the hell?
Wow.
Does it respond?
Who's listening to us?
Aww.
That's Hey, hang on. Keep it there.
That's Pumpkin that passed away this year.
He's Pumpkin.
Oh, that's sorry.
That's Pumpkin that passed away this year.
No.
That's La Catrina. And this is marigolds, Simpasuchi, that you put on, and just pay respects to those. There's Toby. También.
I love that mug, Paulie.
That is rad. That is so rad. Love you, Paulie. You rule, man.
You're the man, bud.
Bye,
You're the man.
Take care, guys.
Bye, Paulie.
See you, bro.
Bye, Ginger.
We'll go a little longer. What the hell? I'm having fun.
So anyway, I have to go now, but I do want to say one thing I'm actually working on. So,
sure.
Gary, you know how you said you're a comic book guy, right?
Oh yeah, I might have said it a couple times.
I'm actually planning on doing my own comic, actually.
Oh, good.
I'm getting a plot line together. I already have the characters, but I do want to try working on it because it sounds a little uninteresting at this point. But I'm trying to do this series where it's an anthology that will take place in this one universe, and it goes through a set of characters that each go through different events around this universe, and it switches characters each story.
Cool. Do you have it laid out like in advance, or is it just right now? Just in your head?
It's in my head. I'm working it out right now. I'm starting with the first part, at least getting that properly sorted out before I move on to any of the next ones. But I am plotting out all of them in advance to make sure that they all make sense.
Do you have a 1-minute pitch?
I'm still working on it. That's why I'm plotting it out right now.
Yeah, work that out. And unsolicited advice: don't pay an artist in advance.
Of course.
Retainer maybe, but do not pay them in advance. You'll never hear from them again 9 out of 10 times, unfortunately.
Sounds good.
Yeah, got to watch out for that. If you find a good one though, and now that you have this community out there that is filled with talented people, you can reach out to them, and you will be got. The art people are so insanely talented, and the thing is, they get blocked. I used to have this really naive belief a long time ago that the cream rise to the top, like all the real talented people actually made it, and that couldn't be further from the truth.
Isn't it so unfortunate?
Yeah.
Bad reboot.
Like I said, it's great to have a community like everyone here. So it's great to see everyone here, and I'd like to thank everyone for the support. And like I said, one last time, I got another one of my pugs.
He does not want to be here.
He's like,
he just loves me a lot. Say hi, Pandy.
Good looking dog.
Anyway,
I put up with this.
Yeah, good dog. Good dog.
Nice doggy.
Well, get that
Nice
comic
chatting
book
with you.
going. We need more entertainment, and maybe it'll get optioned, and it'll be a great movie someday or series. We need it.
Good luck with it.
Thanks,
Good luck.
everyone.
Take
Good
care.
luck.
Bye.
All right, Gary, I'm going to jump out as well and make room for somebody.
Just another red shirt. Thank you, my friend.
Good seeing you again. Just another red shirt.
And he's wearing a red shirt this time. Kind of.
It's been a pleasure, as always.
I guess
Hey,
today
I'll
it's
see
just
you all
another
later.
plaid shirt.
Take care, brother. Thank
care.
you.
Okay.
See ya.
So long.
The rise of the plaid shirts.
Yes. Java bean.
I did have something new to show off today.
What's that?
A coworker gave me a big old collection of comics, and in there I got
Gave you?
yeah, just gave me like a big old cloth bag full of comics.
Oh, shite.
It's stuff like RoboCop versus Terminator.
Oh,
Yes.
well, Walt Simonson, right?
I believe. Yeah. But who's the writer on that or artist?
No,
Was it Miller?
I gotta rebag this.
The Miller right there was Simonson art.
Oh, it's great though. It's got the nice. Oh, I can't
Nice.
pick it up on here. But the armor on RoboCop has that nice shine to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, does it have it has silver foil on it?
A little bit, yeah. And more,
Sick.
I thought more importantly,
Oh,
Spawn.
there you go.
Spawn.
God.
Number one. It's like he's got the first 10, 15 in there from what I've seen so far.
No
Just gave it
big
to you.
boxes. No big
Wow.
boxes of Star Wars toys from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Not this time.
Maybe next time, man.
Hey, the Millennium Falcon. I sold it recently, but I had a Millennium Falcon, a X-wing fighter, and a Darth Vader TIE fighter. I got at a yard sale in 1994 for a grand total of $1.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep. So to show you that Star Wars has gone through peaks and valleys, and I sold them for hundreds of dollars in the shop.
Well, I have
for 'em a little, but yeah.
I have the original AT-AT, but I can tell you with absolute certainty that it wouldn't be worth $1 because it is in bad shape.
No, if you have any kind of packaging, a booklet, you would be surprised. Just hang on to the stuff. The older it gets, you always think that it couldn't go up in value. We were talking about it last night. I got my Amazing Fantasy 15 in the 90s. I bought it for $400. It's worth like 20,000.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap.
Wow. You know, that AT-AT, there are a lot of people, if it's anywhere close to complete, there are a lot of people who do restorations who would buy it from you to restore it. Buddy,
It's true.
Buddy mine
that's
has
a good
a
point.
channel. I know a guy with a channel that does that. And they yeah.
Hey, plug in a channel. That's always good.
No, not plugging him, but I'm just saying he does
That's
videos
cool.
on it. So yeah.
That's
Yeah,
my thing.
absolutely.
Auburn
Yeah.
Time.
Retro Blasting is the name of it.
Yeah, Retro Blasting's great. Great.
Oh,
He's a
I'm
great-
on that channel. Yeah.
Oh, he's a great
subscribe.
friend of mine. Michael's amazing. He does. I mean, I don't know how people do those restorations like that. It's truly talent. I think
he did a great video, kind of explaining how Disney vandalized. I mean, many people have done it, but I thought his video was particularly good because it like just hammered the point home in a way that you could really understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great video.
Oh man, it was. I'm glad you saw that, Gary. Did you ever see his video? I don't know if any of you collect the old Super Friends cartoon, and they put them on DVD, and all these different. They were all in crazy order.
Yeah.
He did a video years ago where it explains the order of you buy them in. Each season was different. It's insane how bad it was, and he made sense of it. I was like, man, dude, that's how you did it.
You know, they're still doing that, by the way.
Yes.
I went into an Albertsons to go get my berries because that's all I could snack on right now, and I saw two, and it's basically the case says Superman on it, so and it was like $1. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna buy all of these. And it was on DVD. It was Super Friends. It was all Super Friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's
so
so many of them.
Coke. Yeah, like $3. You know.
Wow, that's not bad. That's great stuff. We love Super Friends.
I love
I love Super Friends.
Hi, Culture. Hi, Java
Hello.
Bean.
G'day. One of the rising stars of YouTube.
Java Bean.
Culture. Hey, Culture.
Hello, everyone. Good to see everybody and listen to you.
Likewise.
Hail, bro.
How representative it is of Star Wars, but I did see one slutty Darth Vader costume yesterday.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I should say it was a discount slutty Darth Vader costume.
I don't care.
Good enough.
I didn't care either. I was with my girlfriend, and I was like, check out this slutty outfit. It's great.
It's not Halloween without seeing at least one slutty Star Wars costume.
But as we've discussed, she's got to be missing at least 3 of her limbs and 90% of her skin burned off.
No, she had all of her limbs and a little like Darth Vader voice box right below her breasts. So.
That's cultural appropriation.
Do you guys think there will be a backlash to what's going on? Do you think there'll be a pendulum swinging the other way, and it will go insanely the other way? As far as
backlash.
Yeah, like bringing back slutty costumes.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Especially after the virus, when everyone is like ready to Halloween party again. Yeah. Absolutely. And everyone who's going to like whinge is just going to get beer cans.
I also hope that in response to lockdowns, people can continue to say, fuck the government, fuck all this. You guys go off in your own corner. We're going to do our own shit. 2020 was the year of oppressive government and lots of nannying. 2021 should be the opposite.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. I've been in support of bringing about second Halloween. If people want to bring about a second Valentine's Day with that Sweetest Day nonsense, why not a second Halloween?
I agree.
Well, that's what conventions are for, or that's what they were for.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Halloween every time you go to a con.
Hop on to Judaism for the holiday of Purim. It is exactly like Halloween. Just dress up, and if anybody asks, just like, yeah, dude, it's Purim.
All right.
Hop on to Judaism.
Hey, just one night.
Fun. That's
Just one night.
Tagline. Although Judaism isn't like big on converting people, right? I mean,
no, we don't. We don't proselytize. It's
it's
You're hashtag uncool.
Yeah, if you might get right. And no, actually, didn't. When did I hear that? In some areas, again, totally ignorant to this. It's discouraged.
No, 100%. Yeah, like where I'm from, if like let's say I was dating someone and who wasn't Jewish and she wanted to convert, she would be told not to convert 3 times, like 3 different times. Just like, you really don't want to do this. You shouldn't do it. You don't want to do this. Like, this is a bad idea. You're going to live to regret it.
It's like Fight Club. You don't answer the door for the first 3 days. I got it.
We don't want people to join who don't really want to join.
Yep.
And there's a bit of a like leeway for love kind of thing, but yeah, it's sort of like don't want to be part of a group that wants me kind of thing. It's like if you really want in, then we definitely don't want you.
Yeah.
Gary, I think that the non-vocal majority that's out there are just regular people who just want to have fun, and they want to go to their gym. They want to get out and do stuff. They want to be able to live their lives, and I think that will will come to the fore here in next year when we start to see that there's going to be slutty costumes. The world is opening up a little bit. It's not so conservative, and when I say that little c conservative as it used to be, I think that we're seeing a lot of that go the opposite way with what's happening right now, where you're kind of seeing everything open up, and heck, gay marriage is awesome. People can choose their own genders, whatever. That's great, and I think we're going to start to see that the rest of it's going to follow suit. I think you're absolutely 100% right that we are going to see it swing the other way. I think that we should normally just a person who is acting in a show or a movie, they are who they are. I don't want them to give me a 5-minute dissertation on I am gay, gender fluid, whatever, right? We just want to be who we are, and they should be who they are. You don't have to talk about it.
Gender fluid is the worst term in the world.
It is.
It's like something you just got to clean up off the floor with a napkin.
Everything.
Agreed 100%.
40,000 miles.
Agreed 100%.
Well, as somebody, it's someone who decided to pop in late. I just want to add my 2 cents, and that is the 80s are going to come back, guys. Everything that you remember from the 80s, if you were old enough now to remember them, I think that's the kind
70s. Of wasn't alive.
The 80s have been back for like 20 years.
No, but I mean but the lifestyle, the free swinging, we were celebrating, the chaos, and America was the United States in particular. We were out partying, and things became much freer after the summer of love ended and the 70s went away. We really knew how to party at that point.
We're dark.
Yeah, they were. They were terribly dark.
I mean, it's bad. Things are bad now, but I remember being in gas lines with my mom because she had an even license plate. If you had an odd license plate, you were on one day. If you were even, the other, and then you sat in a gas line for hours. And and that's where I kind of started liking talk radio, because that's where the first time I heard it was when I was a little kid. She wouldn't play music; she would listen to talk radio while I was sitting in the stupid line for hours.
Sounds like a square.
I think you're right, Culture Casino. I think that the 80s are going to come back. I think that we're going to have a lot of, hopefully not the oil crisis. We don't need that again. But I think that culture was so great in the 80s. Look at the movies we got. Look at the TV. Look at the pop culture that's out there. The great actors. I don't think we're going to get the blockbusters again, at least not for some time, because of obvious reasons. But I think that we need to go small again. We need to have good, strong, talented writers doing the best they can with a limited budget. I think we're going to get some renaissance in music and culture and art as people start to realize that we have to start looking inwardly and start being creative and get past this the limitations of society and government that's been put on us.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say that, because it's almost the opposite of what you were just saying from what I was trying to interpret. Like, I feel like we've gone down this whole road as a rather conservative, square Catholic person. I almost feel like there's a lot of just weird debauchery that has come about because people don't have any sort of moral rock or values that they stick to, or just common sense. I really think what you should do. So like this whole thing of like, you can choose your own gender, it's great. I'm like, no, it's actually pretty stupid and really doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm sorry, but that's where I stand on that. And like, sure, I don't have a problem with gay marriage or whatever, stuff like that, because I think, I'm in the you do you camp. But I kind of feel like a return to form would kind of being like, can we scale back the insanity that makes no sense and just go back to like what we kind of like the traditional stuff of like, yeah, I do like the masculine men, and I do like this like saving the girl stories, and I do like this and that, and we can still have kick-ass females, but it doesn't have to be the insanity that we've had the past 5-10 years. That doesn't really make any sense to me, or like speaks to our sort of cultural norms.
So I think that's where you are going to see that pushback. You're going to see a major cultural, like, people will not want to be censored anymore. They're going to hate hearing like people correct their speech, and like it's already happening. But I think post COVID is when we're going to like, people are just like not going to have like any sympathy, because they're finally going to be able to do what they've wanted to do for years, and anybody who tries to slow them down is going to get get an earful. But I don't think it's going to be that sort of individualistic renaissance that we might like. I mean, maybe this could just be my perspective, but I think people are too herd-like. You know, they don't always think for themselves as much as they need to.
Like Twitter?
Yeah, I mean, that's one example. But there are many. There are many.
It'd be nice. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Gary. Good evening.
Oh,
It's
good morning.
Good morning in Australia. I was just going to say, just add to that. It'd be nice to see a little bit of restraint. Like, I don't understand how, in this day and age, how strength and autonomy has to equate to vulgarity and being obnoxious. Yeah. And like, my wife and I watched The Big Sleep from 1946 the other night, and Lauren Bacall. My God, is that a strong woman? But she is restrained. She is, and I don't mean oppressed. She is just refined, and she knows who she is. She's not swearing every other word. I mean, obviously they couldn't in those films, but we just looked at each other and we said, where are people like that these days?
I don't think we're ever going to go back to that, though. We're not going to be going back to chivalry and opening the doors for the ladies.
No, I don't mean to that extent, but just a little bit of, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just a bit of refinement, a bit of class. Like, I'm sick of corporate spokespeople just, talking about, hey, be a strong woman, be an effing strong woman, be a this, be that, and they're swearing every other word, and it's just you're not coming across as someone who actually is, who knows who they are. You're just a loose cannon.
I agree with you. I think you're 100% right, and I think that all thinking people realize that the moment you stoop to the level of calling someone else a name, you go through the ad hominem attacks that you cast at another. That's the point at which your argument falls apart. So the very first thing they do is call you names. That means they have no argument.
Right.
Their argument, and so therefore, it's very, very hollow, and I believe we'll go back to that way of looking at things and listening to people who have something to say rather than someone who's, trying to shout you down because they believe that's the only way that they can bully you and have power. That's what we're dealing with right now. We have been for several years now as a bunch of bullies. They just happen to be in positions of cultural authority, not an actual authority.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are in actual authority are, a little bit more cognizant of the fact that if they resort to that name calling, then they will cheapen their argument, which I think one party is learning right now. It doesn't work very well. They're trying to ape or mimic a candidate, or at least they're trying to ape a candidate that was successful in beating them. They're doing a very poor job or poor imitation of it because you can agree with him or not, and I don't fall on either side of I don't fall on either political party, but when you look at what he says, at least he has an argument. His points, a lot of what the people agreed with when they voted for him the first time, were very similar points that were being made by another candidate on the other side, which is Bernie Sanders, and everybody forgets that Trump originally was a New York Democrat. Yeah,
not everybody forgot.
Yeah, but remember, New York 90s Democrat means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, old school Democrat.
It means open to the highest bidder.
Right.
Well, perhaps, but regardless, like I said, they're doing a very poor imitation of him, and I think that I think that speaks volumes. And it's also why, again, I mean, everybody's at each other's throats is because nobody's willing to listen to an actual discussion or argument, which is, it's very obvious here. I mean, this community and the reason we were all inspired to either start channels or considering it if we haven't or whatever, is because of the voices that were resonating with us. They weren't name calling. Gary doesn't do a whole lot of that, although sometimes it's really amusing when he does. But it's all very specific points, the bullet points. It's this is what's wrong because this is what's wrong because and there's always a cause and effect argument to be made. And what none of these people realize is the unintended consequences, because they never look farther than the words that they're saying. They don't look into the future to think about, okay, the next point I'm going to make, what would be the ramifications of this if it actually came to pass?
Everyone's just on transmit.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, everybody's screaming and no one's listening, and we all have different viewpoints and different lifestyles, different upbringings, different decades that we were born in, It's all about what culture and what religion, what education, everything is all part of who you are. So everybody is different, but I love this live stream today. This is awesome. This is the stuff that I like talking about because I grew up very conservative Catholic from a Scottish grandmother who was very, very strict. And so that's how I grew up. I grew up being raised on King Arthur and being chivalrous and being conservative and listening and not talking.
Can I ask you a slightly inappropriate question?
Fire.
What did your grandmother think of Sean Connery?
Oh, she loved him.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
And we're McLeods and McDonald's, on my grandmother's side. So, and my grandfather is English, but they moved to Canada a couple of generations ago. So it was a whole different world. But yeah, she loves Sean Connery. Absolutely. Always her favorite Bond, and she loved the Bond movies. So God rest her soul. And so she lived into her 90s, and yeah, she loved those kind of movies because that was the alpha male. That's who she loved.
Yeah, my grandmother loved Humphrey Bogart.
Oh wow,
he was great.
I was like, oh, you like the villains, huh?
My grandmother told me she liked Bare Naked Ladies, the band.
She might be a cool grandma.
Yeah.
That is a cool grandma.
I was gonna say my mom can't stand sci-fi or fantasy, and she was forced to see a Star Wars movie with my dad when they were dating. But her one takeaway was, "But I like Darth Vader."
You gotta like the strong villains, because you know what? There's no good heroes without a good villain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes me think about Disney wanted so bad to bring back Darth Vader at first. I don't know if you guys remember those rumors or not. When Disney first purchased Star Wars, there was crazy stuff about him being cloned or splitting off, like the dark side entity was able to reform. Stupid stuff, which is probably Mark Zero stuff. I don't know if it was real or not. We respect him here. But I still think they're going to remake it because Darth Vader is still the face of this franchise. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, it's the first damn mask you see when the Star Wars thing comes up with the Mandalorian and they do that little Marvel thing. You could tell that's why they want to do it. He's a super villain. He's Doctor Doom. That's what he's kind of based on. So yeah, I think the remake is on the way. I think and they might as well at this point.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question for you then. So, would that have been a better person behind the curtain than the Emperor at the very end? Like, now, I don't mean do it at the very end, but maybe Darth Vader didn't die on that Death Star in Return of the Jedi, and maybe some of his troops, his elite troops from the 501st, saved him, threw him in a shuttle and got him away, and then put him in and then saved him, and then had him as the kind of the person behind the scenes. Maybe he didn't get turned to the light. That might have been a better story.
Follow canon. You gotta follow last week's episode. It was burned. His suit was burned on a fire.
Yeah, that's true.
Ghost.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna do more with it with Kylo talking to the mask and worship. I mean, that was actually interesting.
That would have been so.
That would have been nice. Refashion the costume.
And if you did make, you can make. Oh, it's terrible. You can make all kinds of exceptions, and it might have skewed people wrong. But Critical Drinker just did a thing for Finn that I thought was pretty good. I would go all the way back and just redo the whole thing, Drinker, and I would start with that, and I would make it that Anakin was so special, right? Because he's basically, Force Jesus, that it did split off into another entity. And that entity doesn't necessarily need to be Anakin. It could be Darth Vader. And whatever you want to do with that, there's a million things you can do. But they didn't. I mean, there's when YouTubers, and yeah, Critical Drinker says he thought up that Finn story in a couple hours. And I've already heard better pitches from you guys in 5 minutes than because they put that, they don't care. They just simply don't care. They just wanted to make that money, and they did at first. I mean, you can't argue that point. That's why they continue down their path, and that's why Star Trek is trying to do what it's do, because they think they're eventually going to find this big pot of gold at the end of their very rainbow Star Trek. And yeah, it's just not going to happen though, because they don't care. And that's the one thing they fundamentally don't understand. You have to, the fans love this, if the fans love it more than you do, or at least you don't respect it as much as the fans are going to always sniff that out and tell.
It's very short-sighted. It's very, very short-sighted.
And even if they do have it's just a job mentality, learn to care, like Harv Bennett, like, okay, I'm getting paid this amount of money. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to learn to care about this project.
Harv Bennett was a pretty special way of doing that.
He did. And, somebody just tweeted at me right now, like Mr. H's review of Star Trek Discovery, like his first reaction. This was like 3 years old. And I'm going to respond to it later. I'm just going to go, that's great that he thinks it sucks. We're well beyond this thing just sucking. It's like, we know it sucks. Now each episode is a mortal blow to this franchise. And I think the only reason I'm doing reviews is I'm not like at a hospice as a loved one watching my beloved franchise die. It's already dead. Like Star Wars already dead. Doctor Who is already dead. So I'm shaming the murderer. I don't know. You might as well restart everything at this point, and maybe they can make something good out of it. I doubt it, but
I have every single Star Wars movie except The Force Awakens, and I no longer am watching any Star Trek. So I've basically lost my childhood. I might as well start watching Thomas the Tank Engine and remember that George Carlin's dead too.
The impact of this, when each of you say that though, and we hear it so much, and I don't mean to minimize anybody's reaction to that or anything, but that's huge. Like Ace Mr. Freeze, lifelong Star Trek fan, lifelong Star Trek fan, is no longer watching Star Trek. That is something that should scare the shit out of CBS. Like, what did we do to do that? And they just dismiss you guys, and that's why we're here. We don't feel heard at all.
Yeah, it's because Ace Mr. Freeze is toxic. That's why.
Obviously,
I'm very toxic.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm just
self-hating.
You don't fit in the
huge.
They have to understand that we're pushing back against this because it's those people that are using those labels, that are using those names. Those are the ones who are toxic. Those have always been the ones who are toxic, and they're just affecting their poor decisions by using these show-stopping names on us. And we just walk away. So all we have is each other, or do as I sometimes do and think it was so much better back then, and as long as it's in a different world. But if you think about it too much, it's the same thing that destroys any new movie that you're talking about that comes out today. You think about it, and then you realize, wait a second. If I think about this as it is in the world, and you think exactly what Gary thinks, you think about Han Solo. What happens to Han Solo in the end if that's actually supposed to be in this world, which is what they wanted it to be.
Well, I mean, all these series wind up becoming, when they go down this route, is they just become a joke, and they become something for us to mock.
Yep, and that's it's almost the nerds have become the jocks. They become what they hate, and and honestly, it's embarrassing to be a comic book fan right now.
Yes.
And embarrassing to be a Star Trek fan.
It's weird growing up. I'd get mocked, as many of us did, and teased at school and beaten up or whatever for liking Doctor Who or Star Trek. And now the Doctor Who and Star Trek fans are the ones who are the bullies.
Yep.
It's just so bizarre.
It's the racist calling other people racist.
Well, those words no longer have power. I mean, you've been called a racist. I've been called a racist. I think it's like when you do your first few videos and somebody comes at you with some hateful stuff. I mean, that's just like, okay, well, that doesn't hurt me at all, and it becomes less hurtful every time somebody calls you one of these names. And so the names that we used to find so horrific, like Gary was saying, we no longer do, because they don't carry any weight any longer, because they're overused and they've become meaningless, because their meaning has been diluted by the fact that anybody who doesn't agree with you is now one of these vile or formerly vile words. And so it changes things. I mean, words have power. I mean, when someone says that the pen is mightier than the sword, it's a legitimate statement. I mean, you know, brilliant men have come up with even better ways of saying that. But,
yeah, I think the line is, you watch your words, because your words become your thoughts and your thoughts become your actions.
Exactly. Yeah, very good. And that's an excellent point.
There's a reason I introduced myself as like, hey, my name's Cash. I'm a misogynist.
Yeah,
go for the throat immediately.
It just doesn't mean anything anymore. And I think a lot of us have just come to grips with that. And so we choose other words and we find other ways to make our points without calling names. Again, I always come back to that. I always like to do the very best that I can to make good points about whatever subject matter I'm speaking on without calling names. And I think that's why this community is as successful as, you know, is maybe not changing hearts and minds, but at least growing in numbers, because everybody realizes that the next person isn't crazy. I mean, that's how we all came together, I think.
Well,
absolutely.
Here's an example of the hangover from what the Disney trilogy did. The Mandalorian is Disney's most successful thing with the Star Wars franchise. Here's a YouTuber with 3.66 million subscribers. His review, man, 377,000 views. That's a lot. This would have been 2 million views a few years ago. Like the interest is down. I mean, like it's not a bad show. It's not woke. I mean, it's not great, but honestly, average Star Wars will outperform anything, but not anymore. Not anymore. This, and you see it right here. These are the real numbers. And look at poor Midnight's Edge. And this isn't their fault. I don't mean to pick on them. They did a stream 2 days ago on the first episode. First episodes are the most watched thing of any review. Like with my Picard one, I got 100,000 on my live stream. Midnight's Edge has over 100,000 subscribers. They have a huge audience. 7,000 views. Is it their fault? No. It's just not a lot of shit. No, because it's not horrible, and that's something to talk about. And it's not great enough. It's not sophisticated enough. Game of Thrones got huge because there was an intricate plot. There was a lot of characters you gave a shit about, and there was a mystery going on, and it made sense. And in the beginning, and that's what going.
But Gary,
that channel. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, please, Ace. Go ahead.
I was just going to say quickly, that channel, Emergency Awesome, that's what I used to watch like years ago when things were good. And then as like Batman comics went down and Star Trek was happening, like I couldn't enjoy Emergency Awesome recaps because his like just generic kindness about everything didn't match the truth of what was on screen. And that's what, you know, that's the kind of thing that's like, I used to watch that kind of stuff. And now I tune to Gary because I'm going to get honesty.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're all looking for.
Yeah. I'm like, I've been dragging my feet on a Mandalorian review on Nerdrotic Live because I just like,
just don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I gotta watch it again.
But in order to try to make a successful show, they literally are picking and choosing things out of the expanded universe or out of video games or some other source that they disavowed previously. They can't. This is the problem with this show. It's not coming up with a lot of original content, and they're going to the well on all of the characters that they're bringing back this year, not just because they need additional support for the show. Because believe me, Baby Yoda is losing the novelty quickly.
Yep.
But there were a possibility of 6 different spin-offs from this show. There won't be that many, but that's how many Lucasfilm was looking at doing, which is, you know, what of these characters are going to be strong enough to carry their own thing? Because the only thing they have going Star Wars right now in a positive direction is the television product, like Gary was talking about.
And yeah, they flat out can't make movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a Star Wars guy, and I have no desire to watch The Mandalorian. I've yet to watch it at all because it's like, they already fucked it up. So, just like, oh, they totally destroyed Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, and they elevated Carrie Fisher's Leia and all that great shit. Cool, but it's ruined. Like, why do I watch a turd sandwich?
No, you don't. And but there's still the other problem still exists, and this is the problem with storytelling in general. And it's probably not all Favreau's fault here, or even Filoni's, but they still fall into the pitfalls of not being consistent, even in their own lore, even within their own storytelling of their own show. They can't stay consistent in their own show. So there's a lot of issues that come along, just to keep things consistent. They just can't do it.
That's what happens when you have 20 producers on a show. That's what happens when you have 20 producers on a show and you have so many hands in the cookie jar. That's exactly the problem. I think we also can't forget here that a lot of these people are protected. They have a lot of sycophants. They have a lot of yes men around them that are saying, no, what you're doing is good. This is great stuff. This is good. This is good. This is good. And they're aware of us. They're aware of how they're losing the numbers. They're aware that they're not getting the views, but they're using that as that's just the vocal minority is out there is talking negative. They're not supporting us, but we have the majority out there that loves the show but yet you're getting the numbers back and you're like, well, how do we explain this then? Well, no, you're doing good stuff. You're doing good stuff. It's a great story. So when you're not hiring the right writers, or you can't find the right writers because the right writers don't want to write for your show or your movie, that becomes a problem, because then you have a empty well where you can't go to get these great stories anymore. So you have to go to the expanded universe and you have to cherry pick what worked there, what didn't. Let's kind of change this a little bit. Like the Marshal, his story is completely different in the expanded universe. But yet we're gonna kind of go in and we're gonna change him a bit. Let's go get Timothy Oliphant because everybody's gonna go, ooh, Timothy Oliphant, wow. And then they're thinking and hoping that we're morons and we don't understand the lore and the background and the culture of Star Wars, and we're just gonna look past that and go, ooh, that's a cool armor. I remember seeing that in Empire Strikes Back. Isn't that Boba Fett? Wow, I need to watch the show. So they're forgetting that we are a knowledgeable, intelligent, great source out there for history, and we know it all. Like a lot of the people who love Star Wars, they know it. So
they underestimated the Star Wars nerds.
Bang!
It's
Got
a
it.
mess now. It's a mess now because you've got all of these details, all these things that used to be contiguous, all these things used to tell a story, one thread that you could follow all the way through, a few things for us nerds to argue about. But now that uncaring about the original material, the whole reason for throwing it away, it makes it easier for those writers when they don't have a history that must be adhered to. And then it's so much easier for the weak, capable, the insufficient writer, the poor writer, the bad writer, to simply craft a story that, well, it's got these details, it's got this, and it's exactly like that. To pick and choose these things. These are Star Trek. It's like that whiteboard in that meeting that we had about the High Republic crap. They
and our Hogwarts school for Jedis.
Well, yeah. And I didn't think anybody was going to like what they did with Boba Fett from what I had heard, and I believe I was right. I think, the story changed substantially of Boba Fett's armor and everything from the EU. So many various things were changed, and I knew it was bad. But I have good news for you all. In 80 days, Kathleen Kennedy's contract is up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. We'll see if we can recover.
Yes, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see.
Stay frosty on that. We're going to have to wrap things up.
Sorry. Hope isn't a strategy.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You never know when to break in with that. But I got work to do for the Inquisition, which is just in a few short hours. And I thank you all for joining. It was fun. It was great to talk to Lori Roberts and all of you, and we'll do this again very soon. I appreciate you all, and we just got to keep fighting. That's the thing is, I guess no matter what happens on Tuesday, I saw a lot of black pilling out there on Twitter, not with you guys, on Twitter and with some of my fellow YouTubers. The fight doesn't end on Tuesday at all, and it didn't end earlier this year, and it didn't end at the end of last year. And keep loving what you love, and if you're not into the culture war, it's okay to get the hell out of it too. That's fine. But there's still a lot of work to do, and there's still a lot of fun to be had, because a lot of us are still having fun here. There is still some good out there, and there's a lot of stuff worth fighting for. And I think the one thing I've learned into 2020 is to not take things for granted. So when I'm out, getting my coffee at Pete's, I'm like extra nice to the barista, even if they fuck something up. I don't even care, because I'm just happy to be able to walk in to a Pete's and buy a coffee, and it's a simple. So I try to remember, and remember, there's people who want to destroy that, and we cannot let them. And it's up to us.
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Happy birthday.
Nice Thanos.
All right. So everybody, does anybody want to plug anything before you go? Anyone?
My wife and I did a couple of reviews.
Sorry,
my wife and I did a couple. My wife and I did a couple of reviews of Star Trek Discovery, just for shits and giggles, because she's a normie and she's very articulate. So it's interesting to hear her perspective on it, having watched all the other stuff with me, which she loved Deep Space Nine. That's her favorite. And then she watched Discovery and just said, no, this is terrible. But she doesn't come with the fan baggage that we've got, it's just interesting to hear her perspective.
She likes DS9. She's normal.
Yeah, she loves it. Yeah, she had no knowledge of it. Just said, this is great. I love it. And she was crying at the end.
Oh.
DS9?
Babylon 5.
Whoa. Let's not go there.
Not go there?
Working on
yes.
I mean, let's not go into the DS9 B5.
Yeah.
Oh no, not the cross. This is not DS9 versus B5. This is appreciating each for their own individual strengths, which actually
exactly
they did. I do have a promotion for Jake D is doing his Howling entertainment stream later. I think he's doing it from Florida, Disney, Epcot. He's going to be doing that probably sometime around 5 his time, 5 Central. Well, he's in time now. But it's going to be later today. Look for it on his channel.
I'm going to be on with Lorena Creole at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific today, doing her Welcome to Florida stream. And we'll be going in depth on Disney's layoffs for all of their actors, equity positions, all their entertainers, basically. Most of their entertainment staff they've let go. So. Yeah,
they're going to be letting go some more. Yet a presidential candidate rolled out a commercial stating that if it was Orange Man is responsible for the 28,000 Disney employees that were fired. Gavin Newsom.
I'm pretty sure the Orange Man would want Disney to be open.
Yeah. I'm pretty.
As someone from the other side, I can safely say I'm pretty sure the president's not responsible.
Yeah, no, Gavin Newsom was.
I hate that shit.
1,000. Yeah, it just goes down. Lord Thoughts, you wanted to say something before we go?
I wanted to say that this was a great birthday present. I always love coming on here and matching wits with all of you. You're all intelligent, sophisticated people that have a great passion for what we all love. So thank you very much for letting me talk and bend your ear. And Culture Casino, I absolutely love your show. I try to tune in whenever I can. Java Bean, I'll have to check out those reviews.
Keep your expectations low.
Good stuff. Yes, sir. I look forward to chatting with you again with Jake D. Cash, great to see you. Ironcaster, love the helmet, man. Cool stuff. And not Ginger. It's always great to chat with you. So thank you, Nerdrotic.
Oh, thanks.
I just got that reference for the name now. Because you're not a ginger.
But my name is Ginger.
Right.
I am not lying about that. My name is Ginger.
Everybody celebrate Aces on the same page as we are.
No, I mean, look, it's that thing like, oh, great, yeah. Sometimes I get it, and sometimes I really don't. And my friends know to just fill me in.
You are not the only one. We're just appreciating the fact that there's another one like us. We're all okay.
All this ever was. Thanks.
And I know you've got to go, Gary, but I just want to quickly apologise as an Australian on behalf of some of my countrymen.
Oh,
sorry for Australia.
I don't blame you.
It wasn't me.
Little Karen.
Isn't that
sounding a little bit Canadian there?
We know it's not you. It's fine.
Karenism is international.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that foreign interference?
It might be. We're looking into it because he flat out won't remove me from the list. So I mean, I don't care at this.
He's from Brisbane, isn't he? They're all dicks up there.
Yeah, but
tell us how you feel.
Yeah.
Just kidding. There's probably somebody going, I'm from Brisbane.
I'm kidding. I used to live there. I'm joking.
Yeah. I love Australia still, and I hope you overthrow your regime. That's all we can do and hope for. Hey, this year is gonna make people think about a lot of things. So on that note, catch you guys next Sunday, hopefully earlier if my week opens up a little more, but I do have a lot of in real life stuff to work out before Mrs. Nerdrotic goes back up to San Francisco the day after the election, which I might not let her do.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Or
There
give
might
her,
be a
or make
problem.
sure she has a gun.
Yeah, let me rephrase that before she takes my suggestion because she's not going to listen to me anyway. So she'll do what she wants to do. Bye, everybody in the chat. Eric K, thank you. You're awesome, dude.
Cheers, mate. Bye, everyone.
Drake is 6. What's
Thanks,
up,
Gary?
brother? Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Be safe, everyone.